Y'all, there is a serial unaliver on Indeed, allegedly. This is crazy. So I just did some digging into this, and allegedly there is something going on where people are getting basically abducted, unalived in Atlanta after applying for this one particular position. Now, it's creepy because the position has been removed and it's only on there for a certain period of time. You know, the person applies just like any other job, and they receive a text message to their phone. And this text message says like, hey, my name is so and so. We like to have you for an interview at this location. And it's like a personal phone number or text down number that's texting them. And people have met up with the person allegedly and were unalived. And they don't know who's behind this or what's behind this. This is scary, okay? Especially with this recession coming up and, you know, us being in economic times where jobs are even harder to find and people are really, really, really looking for jobs. This is scary. So be on the lookout in Atlanta when you're applying for work, just because, like I said, I hear a lot of people are getting these weird texts. And if the text message or the email is not a business text or a business number, or I should say business email, do not text it back. Do not go there. Do not meet them, because I don't know what is going on, but all I know is something creepy and sinister is going on. I don't know if this is a trafficking ring. Like, it's just so strange and creepy, but I do hear it's only in Atlanta, Georgia right now. The person who's doing this or behind this, it's not a legit job. It's a scam. And this person is trying to unalive people. You know, some of these employment scams are just to get your social and stuff like that. And, you know, that's already horrific enough. But this right here is scary. So be careful. Make sure you don't put your personal identity information on there. Because they're doing a lot of weird stuff right now with people being so, you know, needing the jobs, second jobs. People need work 3 jobs nowadays to be able to afford eggs. So yeah, just be careful because I keep hearing about it.
Stop right there. If you live in Florida, please listen to me. If you are using Indeed to search for jobs, please, please be careful. There is a serial unaliver that is literally posting on Indeed to try to find his victims. So when you go for the job, there is no job. It's just a white van. And I am seriously concerned for my Florida people. Everybody needs to take heed in this. This is absolutely terrifying. I just want to remind you, be on your P's and Q's, be extra cautious. If there is an ad on Indeed that seems too good to be true, it probably is. So make sure you're carrying your mace and be careful, my babies.
Y'all definitely got to be careful on Indeed. So I had a friend just tell me the story of a woman who, she put in some applications on Indeed or whatever, you know, just the whoop-de-whoop. She applies to this call center, or so she thought. So she applies, she gets the interview, good. Now they send her the location. This is where things get a little bit iffy. The location is some warehouse. She still has the number that contacted her. She calls to confirm that this is their address. She walks in, she sits down and waits for her interview. There's a man who comes from the back room and he approaches her and says, hey, I'm such and such. We've been texting, come for your interview, come to the back. She goes in this back room with this man. I'm gonna just cut the chase. The next day she was reported missing. 2 months later, they find her in the woods. You know what? Y'all, be careful, stay dangerous. Be very mindful of Indeed. The scams are so ridiculous. But not only are they scams, there are unimaginable evils waiting for the opportunity.
Alleged. Because I just seen this other lady TikTok who was talking about how she had an interview and this guy had called her for an interview at like 7 a.m. for a warehouse cleaning position. I have a similar story. My interview was not at night. My interview was not in Florida. My interview was in Chicago in broad daylight in Starbucks right downtown. So this is how I know it's human trafficking, and I'm just going to shorten it up because I don't even want to be long-winded with it. So the interview has said that they were the post on Indeed has said that they were immediately hiring and they had weekly pay. At the time, I really needed a job, so I was like, hey, perfect. That's the perfect job for me. So I had got the interview, and I think I scheduled one for the following day. So I went to the Starbucks. There was already a lady interviewing this gentleman ahead of me, and the interview was very long-winded, and I had waited for at least 30 minutes for him to finish up his interview. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, this is a little bit unprofessional, but in my head, I'm also thinking it is weekly pay, so what can you expect from this type of job? So boom, it gets to my interview and she asked me all these questions, yada yada, like, do you have a car? Do you have kids? Yada yada yada. And she asked me all these like invasive questions, giving me all these scenarios and whatnot. And I ended up not getting the job, but I don't think I got the job because I wasn't qualified. I think I got the job because I was too smart. She was asking me a lot of scenario questions, and I can't really get too deep into it right now because I'm kind of occupied making some moolah. But yeah, she did ask me some like invasive, like not too invasive, but just like, oh, what would you do in this type of scenario? What would you do in this type of scenario? Blah, blah. And me, I'm smart, I'm quick-witted. So you already know I'm just, oh, okay, blah, blah. But I'm still trying to get the job at the end of the day. So I don't mind answering the questions. And it wasn't like invasive like my personal life. But she was definitely asking these questions to see what type of mindset you had. And then also it was weekly pay and it was immediately hiring, and they could tell from those just two demographics right there that you might be a little desperate for cash. And I was desperate for cash at the moment. You know what I'm saying? I don't scam or nothing. I get legit W2. So yeah.
Indeed is not a website for job applications anymore. They are literally trafficking and kidnapping teenage girls. If y'all didn't hear about the 17 missing teenagers after they had went to a job interview for a warehouse from Indeed, and nobody heard from them ever since, and this happened in Atlanta. And that's the reason why every time we go and apply for a couple of jobs off Indeed, we never get a response back, because they are literally picking teenage girls, telling them to come to this location for an interview, and when they're driving up to these locations, the parking lot is literally empty. The warehouse looks creepy as fuck. And one girl had commented under my video, and she said that she went for a job interview and the guy came to her car and said, oh, you're quite young for this job, aren't you? And then the girl never ended up getting out of her car and she actually went back home. Like, please, especially ladies, be careful. Do not go on Indeed to look for a job, because that is not the place anymore. Back then, like 2015, 2016, yeah, it was a reliable source to get a job. But now they're literally using that as a way to traffic young girls. So trust your gut, trust your intuition. If it feels like something is wrong, you should not go, then do not go. And if y'all are applying for jobs, go on the actual job website. Don't go on Indeed and they make you go on a different link and do all this crap. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth y'all lives. Please be careful when y'all are on Indeed. Like, I'm not even, baby. Y'all will never ever catch me on Indeed ever again. Like, that is so scary, especially for young girls who are just trying to get jobs. And there's a reason why a lot of boys don't be getting called back from Indeed. Now y'all know this is the reason why. They're literally trafficking young teenage girls. The fact that 17 are missing right now in Atlanta, they went to the interview and they never heard back from them ever.
17 people went on an Indeed interview and disappeared. 17 people are missing. Do you see how I made that seem really realistic and like I was really concerned? Logically, let's think about this. Let's put our heads together. If 17 people were missing, don't you think we would have 17 different names? My second point, it was Indeed interview. Nobody has the job title. Nobody has a location. Nobody has a post. Nobody has anything. My third point, there are no news articles, no police reports, nothing. I couldn't even find a Facebook post from a family member. You know, people love to go to Facebook and say, hey, my family member is missing. Can you help find them? It's definitely starting to look like this never happened. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was Craigslist or LinkedIn, somebody from that company that put this out there so people would stop using Indeed. Now, there are scammers on Indeed, there are scammers on LinkedIn, there are scammers on Craigslist, Monster, all of the job sites. But best believe if 17 people were missing, it would be national fucking news.
There is an update on the missing people after going to a job interview that was posted on Indeed, or should I say a job application being put in from a hiring manager that posted the job on Indeed. Now, there are a total of 17 missing people after, going to the same exact job interview. This is so disturbing. This happened in Atlanta, Georgia. All these people tend to be women or girls, young girls, teenagers, young women between the ages of 20, in their 20s, 27, 35. These are the names of everyone. Everyone's saying that this isn't real. This is real, y'all. Please be careful. Like I said, there are scams out there to, risk, your identity being stolen or anything like that. Just make sure that you're putting an application in with a legitimate company. Like I said, the 17 people that are missing are actually missing people. This isn't made up. And I'm not 100% sure what job this was for. It just was a listing or a posting, and it, you know, it led to a virtual interview, or not a virtual interview, a link being sent to go to an interview. And the name of this person, the identity of the person that the job was linked back to, would, you know, get deleted and then put back up later. Like I said, when you do apply for a place, please make sure that you're not putting in your personal information or details, or going up to an address that is not real, or address that seems like it's sketchy.
What you mean 17 people in Atlanta came up missing from an Indeed interview? Well, who the fuck is doing the interview? Who is getting these people's information and setting up interviews and taking people? And where the fuck are they putting them? What the fuck is going on?
Have you guys heard about the 17 missing people that went to interviews through Indeed and are still missing? There's a lot of people in Atlanta that are talking about this, but there's not that much national news coverage about it. Allegedly, from many people in Atlanta and many other TikTok creators, they are saying that 17 different people went to interviews that were scheduled through Indeed and they have not been seen since. I don't know about you guys, but this is very scary, because a lot of people use Indeed for jobs, and the job market right now, people are desperate, really going to interviews and trying to get a job. So what is going on in Atlanta? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is pretty scary.
Okay, I just posted a video about the 17 people who went missing after an Indeed interview, and I've gotten a lot of comments very quickly. A lot of people saying it's not true. That's why I wasn't able to find like any news articles on it. I've done further research. I don't think it's true. However, what is true is the stories of people who have come out since this story has come out on TikTok, of people saying, I interviewed with an Indeed job in person. It was horrible. It was sketchy. Like, something was up with that company. Let this be a reminder to always do your research into the companies that you are interviewing for, especially in-person interviews. I did see a lady say that her daughter was interviewing for DraftKings, and that's the one that I was referencing in this video. She said her daughter like showed up to the in-person interview, super sketchy building. She walked in and it was like all these men in a back room, and like she immediately left because she was like, nope, got a bad feeling. So I like really don't put it past some of these like listings and messed up people out there to take advantage of the fact that there are so many people unemployed right now, especially unemployed young people. But trafficking through LinkedIn and Indeed is a real thing, and it has been since 2010. So again, that's why I don't use Indeed. But the fact that people like take advantage of unemployed people like this is
fuck it. I think we don't need jobs anyway. So did y'all hear about that little girl had ended up, I think she was 17 years old or 16 years old, and she decided she wanted to apply for a job? Everybody knows that we use Indeed to apply for a job. But with her, she was new and she was on Indeed and she was applying for a job. So when she applied for a job, she got the interview and she decided to go to the interview. When she went to the interview, she went by herself. The interview was at 7 p.m. That was the first red flag. Then, not only that, the interview was at a warehouse where everything was distant from each other. So when she took the Uber, it was dark and it was like buildings distance from each other. When she get there, after everything was distance from each other, she had an interview with the lady at the front desk, and then the lady had sent her to the back to interview with someone else. When she had went back there, she had ended up not coming back out. So she, to this day, nobody can't find her. Now, if y'all have interviews, please be mindful of these jobs out here actually sitting up here abducting people through interviews. 17 people came up missing in Atlanta for the same exact thing.
I
find it damn sure concerning the fact that we ain't even asked to be no motherfucking workers. The fact that we ain't even supposed to be working in the first place to pay these raggedy ass bills with this inflation that been going on for a fucking decade now. That all of a motherfucking sudden, the number one hiring platform trafficking the motherfucking applicants. Like, is y'all cool? And it sound like that's some old organ taking ass shit. We gonna find out all 17 of them bodies that supposedly came up missing from this one job application. Watch they find their bodies with no organs in them. That be the weird ass shit that be going on, because it's too many people coming up missing back to back from this motherfucking app. Yes, it's a high risk of trafficking just because, but I'm telling you, they trafficking them to take their fucking organs. That's what I believe is going on. It's bad enough that they had rolled back the DEI. It being a known fact that that's the number one job search engine. Get the fuck. That shit is, man, I'm telling you, shit. Anyway, be careful going on it. Just, you know what? At this point, if you don't got a job, maybe it's meant for you not to be working. That's how we got to start looking at shit. Being for real, it's getting to a point where it's just like, if you don't have a job, fuck it. It's not meant. Fuck it. Like, fuck it. Like, what?
Hey y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. So this will be a no visual. I will not be on camera for this video, but I wanted to talk about this story real quick because apparently, allegedly, 17 people have gone completely missing after going to an interview on Indeed, or finding a job on Indeed, getting an interview, and then going to this said interview, and then immediately after going missing, or but my thing is, it's crazy because those stories are really crazy, and it's very scary because at the end of the day, don't nobody want to go to work in the first place. Now we are forced to go to work, right? And then you go and apply for a job, and you're thinking Indeed is supposed to be safe. And I'm talking about this because I was just on Indeed. And I'm like, look. You're thinking Indeed is supposed to be safe. You're putting your personal information on there. And you got people on there now, posting jobs only to snatch people up. What is going on? You think if it was up to the people you think they would be looking for a job, you know what I mean? We got bills. Things are expensive. People can't even afford eggs anymore. Thank goodness I don't really eat eggs like that. If it's at the house, I'm going to eat it. But if I don't really go out of my ways to go buy eggs. It's just something that I've never really liked ever since I left Haiti. That's like buying milk. Milk here is just not milk, So, in my opinion, the people who do still buy eggs at the high price, even though you could buy a chicken. And it would be cheaper. But anyways, not everybody have the space for chicken, Anyways, back to topic. My thing is, don't nobody really want to go look for a job, okay? Because it's like being in the rat race where you're literally every single day you're waking up to go to work. You wish you didn't have to go to work. You quit your job at least 10 times before you leave your house every day. That's me, okay? I'm her. I quit my job every day at least 10 times before I have to go to work. But the job still have to be done, I love making my YouTube videos, so therefore I get excited for making the YouTube videos. Sometimes I have to literally rip the cord out of the wall to stop recording because I'm like, look, it's time to go to sleep. But anyways, working a job, nobody wants to go work a job. But imagine trying your best to go find a job because you got bills, because you're an adult, and you have to. And then people, low life people, want to take you out. Like, what do you mean? And if this story is true, sometime though, I might say all of this, because at the end of the day, people are still missing, if this is true. But also, when I was listening to the story, a lot of the time period just didn't make any sense. What do you mean an interview at 11 p.m.? Even for a night shift job, they wouldn't interview you at 11 p.m. When do we actually start using our common sense and also, our discernment? Because sometimes you just gotta think about something and say, you know what, that sounds fishy. 11 p.m. I understand sometimes you get so frustrated because you've been looking for a job and it's been so long and you feel like the odds are just not in your favor. And that's when I say your roads are blocked. But anyways, no one wants to go look for a job. But you go and look for this damn job, and now you gotta worry about your safety looking for a job. That's crazy. That's so crazy. But my thing is, 11 p.m. interview though, like you never even thought that was kind of fishy. Even the 7 p.m. one, I was like, who has? Look, the bosses who do the interviews are usually salary, right? So therefore they get paid a certain amount of money. They just have to be there for a certain amount of hours. They don't get that overtime. None of that. So who's doing an interview at 7 p.m., let alone 11 p.m.? So some of these stories kind of sounds a bit made up, right? But if these people are indeed missing, no pun intended, not funny at all. If these people are indeed missing, then yes, I believe the word should be out, and clearly it's not on the news. The news is not really talking about it. That's why people don't believe the story. And if it is, but there are people who actually sharing their real life stories of what happened to them, and because of their discernment, they were able to think quickly, like, hey, something is not right, something seems fishy. Because I mean, this is just me. Like my mom used to always say, like, if I tell her about something, and I could be telling her for a whole month, and then 2 days before my thing that I have to go to, all of a sudden she had a dream, right? I used to find it the most annoying thing ever. The most annoying thing. Hang on. Because it's like she purposely ruined your plan, because you knew a whole month that I had to go there. And all of a sudden, 2 days before I have to go, all of a sudden you had a dream. And your dream seems so vivid, like I can already imagine in my head. So therefore, just me hearing that from you, I don't even want to go, because what if I do go? God forbid I do go and then something happened. You know, it's like the mom's intuition. But when I grew up, I appreciated so much more, because it lets you know that you're aware of your surroundings, you're aware of life. Because at the end of the day, honestly, you should always look at everyone with the side eye, you know? Just some situation you should always look at the side eye. Like some random job, even at a strip club or something, I would think they would want you to come in at working hours. Obviously their hours are at nighttime, but I'm saying, like, as professional, it would be during the daytime, because ain't nobody going to no interview at like 7 p.m. What are we doing? And why are you still at work? You like your job way too much, which means when I start working at this company, you're going to be on my ass. You're going to want me to come in early and leave late, because you want to be there. So therefore, you want people to be there with you. It's too much. It's too much. So if these stories are true, my heart goes out to the family of these people, you know, and the ones who do share their stories. I'm glad you were able to listen to your intuition and follow that and, you know, get out of there. But sometimes when you get in situations, you don't know what to do unless you're in that situation. So I can also understand that part either. But there are steps where you could have avoided that before you even got to that, because an interview at 11 p.m. is crazy. Hate what I'm saying or not. An 11 p.m. interview though? Like, really? You got an interview, you got an email from Sue-Ann, right? Sue-Ann all of a sudden say, hey, you're perfect for the role. Come to an interview, like right now. Come to an interview at 11 p.m. That's the only time I have, because I'm going out of town. 11 p.m.? What is so important that you have to go out of town? You have to see me. You must see me before you go out of town. Like, I know I want the job, but sometimes it's just, it doesn't make any sense. And you gotta, you know, snap like, hey, something is fishy. Like, why you want me to come to an interview at 11 p.m., you know? So anyways, guys, like I said, I'm not here to say anything about the people who are missing. You know, if they are missing, we are the people, you know, have to try and get that coverage, because we've done it for our community for a long time, because our community, the people who go missing don't get the same coverages as the Qapital girl. Like, the whole world stopped to look for this girl, you know, and the whole time she was with her man, and her man was doing all these things, and, you know, from watching the documentary, her family kind of sort of knew, you know, so it's kind of strange. But when like a African American girl go missing, they don't get the same coverage. So that's what we're here to. But also, you can use your common sense and say, look, something just don't seem right. And if the stories don't add up, that's my opinion. But anyway, guys, that's my take. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, because you know I will be reading it. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Love you.